Bashar. By the way, who gave you that name?
I took a channeling class, not because I thought it was going to be a channel. I was just doing research into channeling. But it was a series of guided meditations. And in one of the meditations, the word Bashar was there. Now, I thought it was his name. He explained later that in their society, they're telepathic, they don't need names. He knew we needed to call him something, and so that word was there. I have since understood that part of the reason that word was chosen is because it's an Arabic word. I don't speak Arabic, but part of my background is Arabic. And the word, even though it's not his name, is representative of what he does. I was actually told a couple of years after I started channeling that the word Bashar means messenger or bringer of good news.
Many of you recognize that there may seem to be, from one perspective, an acceleration of negativity, an acceleration of violence. But really, this is because you're at the end of the cycle of limitation and you have to get it all out on the table and deal with it now because there isn't that much time left to deal with these things. You have to get all of the negativity out on the table in front of your face so that you can consciously decide what kind of a world you really prefer to have. So now that you know you're strong enough to deal with it, you're getting it all out of your system as fast as you can, having the most extreme examples come up because you are strong enough to deal with it. So we call this the rubber band analogy. Fret not, despair not that you have experienced that degree of darkness, that degree of limitation, that degree of negativity. Because the farther back into darkness you pull the rubber band, when you finally let go, it's going to fly that much faster and that much farther into the light.
The reason that many scientists are skeptical of reports of encounters with extraterrestrials is that many of the witnesses describe them as being humanoid. The skeptics explain that in a universe as vast as our own, with so many planets unlike the Earth, the odds of alien life resembling us are incredibly small. And in general, they're probably right. Bashar himself has said that most of the life that he's encountered throughout the galaxy, they look nothing like us. I think the irony is that the skeptics have had the answer all along, but they've missed a vital clue. It's probably true that most alien life doesn't look like us. And therefore, if the reports of extraterrestrial humanoids are factual, it may be that these beings are not really alien.
Assuming for the moment that Bashar is real, who is he? Where does he come from? Why is he making contact with Earth?
The story of my people began in a parallel reality on an alternate version of Earth. The humans on that Earth were technologically far in advance of the humans in your civilization. However, they became focused on technology and intellect. Over generations, they lost connection to their humanity. They lost the ability to feel. They even lost the ability to reproduce. They engineered love out of their lives. They accomplished great technological and intellectual feats at the expense of their emotions, their physical bodies, and their spiritual qualities, which they considered to be inferior. But in doing so, they slowly destroyed their environment. In a last desperate attempt to perpetuate their species, they moved underground and began to clone themselves, but discovered that their DNA was no longer viable. When the attempt to clone themselves failed, they genetically mutated themselves into the beings you know as the Greys, in an attempt to adapt to their dying planet. However, they realized that the only solution would be to find a viable source of human DNA and introduce it back into their genetic makeup. They used their advanced technology to shift into parallel realities, such as your own, where they knew that humans must still exist. But without emotions, they had no understanding of the fearful impact they would have as they abducted your people and extracted DNA in order to create our hybrid civilizations, which took centuries to complete. We were designed to bring emotionality and spirituality, vitality and balance back into the Grey civilization, to reconnect more fully with creation so their culture would never die out. Although many of your people experienced these encounters with the Greys traumatically at first, we are grateful that you chose to help bring our civilization into being. In our appreciation, we share our knowledge and experience with you, with the vision that your world will choose a more positive outcome than the Greys, for we perceive that you have been traveling down a similar path.
If it's true that the destruction of their parallel Earth gave rise to the beings we call the Greys, can we use that knowledge to change our path? Or will we ultimately choose to suffer the same fate? We must all answer this question for ourselves.
While our civilization was being created, the Greys found a suitable planet in their parallel reality, and with the help of their advanced technology, they transformed it into our homeworld that became Ethesani. We have many forms of animal life. Along with us, plants and animals were brought to our world from many different worlds throughout the galaxy in order to create a balanced system in which we could reside. Some of these forms of life even came from your own world. Our world remains in a natural state. We do not build permanent structures on the surface. Our spaceships are our cities, and from within those ships, we can explore the vast unknown. We invite you to join us on this journey of discovery.
Considering the vast distances between the stars, how would ETs travel from one system to another so quickly? Many scientists still believe there's no way an ET could get to Earth in a short amount of time. Perhaps it's time to bury that outdated concept, just as the following ideas, once considered facts, were ultimately proven to be false. The concept of faster-than-light travel is no longer as far-fetched as it used to be. Scientists like physicist Miguel Alcubierre and NASA engineer Harold Sonny White have developed a model for a Star Trek-like warp drive that would warp the fabric of space and propel a ship to the nearest star in under 2 weeks, rather than the thousands of years it would take with our present rocket technology. A civilization 1,000 or even a few hundred years ahead of ours could already possess such technology.
In one dream, I experienced myself being on the ship that I saw, with Bashar standing there looking at me, and I was able to sort of look around the ship, and it was all kind of this, frosted, crystalline type material. I saw another member of his species sitting at a control console, but I didn't see any controls, and he telepathically explained to me in the dream that their ships are actually artificially intelligent, and in fact, they're actually a representation of their own higher minds, and that the pilot is actually telepathically linked with the ship. They communicate. And so only the pilot can see the controls, which struck me as kind of like really cool and really efficient, because no one else can fly that ship but the pilot that's connected to the ship.
Even though you are unto yourself a beautiful oasis in the sea of stars that is your galaxy, you are not as isolated as you may think. Traveling to your world is not so difficult.
We can travel more slowly if we wish through the manipulation of electromagnetic and gravitic fields. The idea, however, of going from star system to star system happens in a very different way. While you think of an object as existing in a location, to us, location is one of the properties of the object. If you thus then have an object at point A, and you are able to isolate it with an energy bubble, in a sense, unlock it from any particular reality, and thus then impose upon it the vibrational signature frequency of location B, it must stop existing at location A and instantaneously start taking up residence at location B without actually having traveled the intervening distance. You have actually changed its locational variable in its energy signature.
If this is an accurate description, then an extraterrestrial civilization with this technology would be capable of traveling light years in the blink of an eye. Thus, the distances between the stars would no longer be a barrier to interaction with other worlds such as Earth. To some degree, we've addressed the first two questions about Bashar, who he is and where he comes from. But the answer to the third question, why is he here, could herald one of the greatest events in human history: open contact with a civilization from another world.
I just hope to God they're friendly, and I hope we could communicate and become friends.
I'd say, hey, welcome. I figure that if they have the wherewithal to get here, they probably drop their craziness behind. Hopefully that's a natural law. If you can escape the planets or go to other planets, you got to be kind and loving and have something to offer.
The opportunity to hear the perspective and to witness the being of somebody who had been anywhere other than here would be fascinating.
It would just keep me interested in what humans are, you know, because the more we can look at how we are in the context of the life around us, the more we understand ourselves. So by looking at life on another planet, I think we could just learn a lot about what life is.
We do not mean this in a judgmental or negative way. We are to some degree joking a little bit. But why would we want to land in an insane asylum where all the inmates have guns? There have been occasions when people in your society in these interactions have said, Bashar, I know I'm ready. I'm ready to meet you today, right now. Well, all right, there have been a few occasions where we have agreed to see if that's so. And we have named the place and we have named the time that our ship will land. And those people have been there. And as soon, in all occasions, they see or sense that our ship is approaching, that our energy is growing, they run in great fear.
A lot of people wonder, why don't they land? Why don't they just reveal themselves? Now, Bashar has explained that a lot of civilizations that are more advanced, more integrated than ours, operate on a very high frequency level of energy. And because we tend to compartmentalize things in our consciousness, because we give into negative definitions, fear-based definitions, our energy is kind of erratic, random, and sort of a lower frequency more often than not. And he's likened the idea to gears. So a higher frequency race will operate like a fast spinning gear, and a lower frequency civilization will be like a very slowly turning gear. And if you jam those two gears together too quickly, you'll strip the gears. They have to be more synchronized before you can put them together. So basically the way Bashar showed me this is, in a dream I saw his ship land, and I saw him get out, and I saw him walk toward me. And as soon as he got, I don't know, maybe 10, 20 feet away, I actually suddenly lost my identity, and I saw my body through his eyes as if I was absorbed by him. And he said, see, that's why. It's like our energy is so much more overwhelming at this high frequency than yours is, that it can actually overpower your sense of identity. You're not fully integrated enough to sort of hold your own. So we are delivering information to you in the way that we are so that you absorb it at your own rate. You change at your own rate when you're ready to integrate. You upgrade your frequency when you're ready. And when you upgrade your frequency enough, when you kind of meet us halfway, then our energies will be harmonized and synchronized, and you won't experience this sort of loss of identity or give your power over to us. If we do it too soon, too prematurely, we're not really doing you any favors. We'll actually be very disruptive to not only your society, but to you as an individual. So the more you change, the more you grow, the more you become more of yourself, the more you'll be like us, the more compatible we'll be vibrationally, and the more we can interact physically, and that's when contact will occur.
This, for us, is how contact begins. By the dissemination of ideas, reflections, and information that give you the opportunity to absorb them at your own pace, in your own timing, at your own discretion, for we force no ideas upon you.
If the messages delivered by Bashar are intended to expand our awareness and prepare us for physical contact, what kind of information do the messages contain?
To understand Bashar's messages, it's important to upgrade old and outdated definitions into ones that are more relevant for the 21st century. Many of Bashar's concepts require us to expand our awareness. If we can perceive reality in the same way that ETs experience it, we create common ground, and it brings us one step closer to physical contact.
The foundational information is what we have referred to as the 5 laws of creation. The 5 laws are: you exist. Number 2, everything is here and now. Number 3, the one is the all, and the all are the one. Number 4, what you put out is what you get back. And number 5, everything changes except the first 4 laws. They're not the laws of physics, which can change from dimension to dimension. These are the laws of existence, the very definition of the structure of existence, which is true for everyone, everywhere, in every reality, at every time, throughout creation. They never change. Every experience any of you have ever had, are having now, or will ever have, is some combination of those 5 laws. Once you understand with clarity that foundation, you will understand exactly how existence works. You will understand exactly how to create the realities that you prefer. Physical reality is a reflection of your state of being, your state of consciousness. There really is nothing outside of you. You're not really in physical reality. Physical reality is within you. It's within your consciousness. It is a concept that you are experiencing of yourself from a certain perspective. However, we understand that the way in which you have chosen to experience your particular dimension of physical experience is as though you are within a realm of space and time, as you call it, where you have taken your energy, the high frequency energy of your spirit nature, and in a sense, have lowered that frequency, crystallized that frequency down into what you call the experience of physical reality. So the thing to remember in order to give yourself more opportunity to choose and experience the kind of physical reality you prefer is to begin to see and experience physical reality as a reflection, similar to the idea of the reflection that exists in your glass mirrors. You know that when you look at your reflection in a glass mirror, you know that you're not really over there. And you know that if you want to change the reflection in the glass mirror, you don't go to the reflection and attempt to make it change. You must change yourself in order to see the change in the reflection. So, physical reality, being a reflection, operates in much the same kind of modality. Any change you wish to see in the so-called reflection, the outer reality, must begin within the inner reality, which is you, within your consciousness, within your vibration, within your state of being. It is all based on state of being. There is nothing in physical reality that is not. It doesn't matter that there might be a physicalized component or a physicalized reflection that you call chemistry or physics or medicine or science. Those are still just reflections of what you already believe in your consciousness to be true for you. Yes?
Yes.
So it's all based on belief, it's all based on consciousness, it's all based on vibration, it's all based on resonance, it's all based on state of being. That's why we say, circumstances do not matter, only state of being does. Because it's state of being that creates circumstances. Circumstances don't create state of being. It's the other way around. You never leave heaven, if you want a metaphor. You never, ever, ever leave that state. That's your natural state. You are all only dreaming that you've left. But you're still there, having this dream there. You understand? You've all gone to sleep in heaven and are dreaming you're in hell. We are sometimes asked why people choose to incarnate in physical reality on Earth. And there are as many reasons as there are people. But generally speaking, it's an exciting place to be, especially now in this age of transformation. Many people want to experience the idea of change and discovery. Remember that in a timeless state, you cannot experience change. You cannot experience discovery of new perspectives. So by forgetting, in essence, who you are as a spirit, as a greater being, you can learn through a process of physical space-time reality how to rediscover yourself anew from a different perspective. And when you create the idea of the space-time framework, you give yourself an opportunity to experience the process of creation. Time is, in a sense, an illusion, even though the experience of time is real. But the idea is that time is a side effect of your consciousness, shifting through billions of parallel realities per second. Parallel realities are like frozen snapshots, like frames of film. They have no movement in and of themselves. And like your film, the only way to create the illusion of time and movement is to project a light through the different frames onto a screen, one after the other, in such a manner as to create that illusion, because no frame has movement in and of itself. If you weren't shifting through parallel realities billions of times a second, you would have absolutely no experience of change whatsoever. Everything would be a frozen snapshot, like this. Or perhaps like this. Or maybe like this. But you have to, like frames on a film strip, actually project your consciousness like the light of the projector through a multitude of frames per second in order to actually experience the illusion of any particular time stream. This is how reality works. And so as you shift your consciousness like the projector beam Through those different frames of parallel realities, you are creating this experience of change and time and space. But the idea is that all those frames exist all at once. Just like the projectionist can take a strip of film and stretch it out and look at all the frames simultaneously and look at them in any order, the only reason that the projectionist can do that is because all the frames exist now, simultaneously, all at once. The idea that they come one after another is simply your projection, your illusion. Therefore, the true structure of existence is that everything exists all at once. To use your television analogy, you know that if you are watching a program on one channel, there are still hundreds of other programs that exist at the same time, but you only perceive the one that you are tuned to. So the idea is that if you wish to experience change, if you wish to experience a different kind of reality, a different way of experiencing space and time, all you need to do is shift to a different parallel reality that already exists simultaneously with yours, just like changing the channel on your television to see a different program that exists at the same time as the one you were just watching that is still going on even though you have changed the channel and can no longer perceive it.
A set of principles is a start, but can we apply these principles as tools to change our lives and our society in positive and practical ways?
Every single one of you talks about the idea of applying some sort of tool or technique to make changes in your lives in a positive and constructive way. And we have had many discussions with many of you about the idea of exactly what sort of tools to apply and how to apply them and how to get a result and how to get a manifestation. Now, of course, first and foremost, you are always manifesting something. If you were not, you wouldn't have an experiential physical reality, correct? Correct. So the idea is, you do not have to learn how to manifest. This is automatic. It is built into you as a creator, as an aspect of creation. What you are simply learning is how to manifest more consciously, to be more aware of how you manifest so that you can manifest what you prefer, instead of manifesting your unconscious beliefs. Passion and all of its expressions, excitement, happiness, joy, creativity, love, are all different ways of expressing the vibration of your true natural self, what we call your signature frequency. Your signature frequency is that resonant energy, that vibration that is unique to you, that identifies you as a unique aspect of all that is of creation. And the way you apply that signature frequency through passion is to act on your highest excitement to the best of your ability, with no insistence or assumption as to what the outcome ought to be, as to what to come to fruition, but to allow the synchronicity in your life to present to you the opportunities that contain that excitement so you can recognize it, because excitement is the compass needle that points to your magnetic north. And by acting on it to the best of your ability, you will bring about in your life what we call the complete kit. You will allow it to work for you. And you will discover very readily, very easily, that excitement can function in your life as the driving engine, as the organizing principle, as the path of least resistance, as the thread that leads to all other expressions of excitement, and as the reflective mirror that will reveal to you what may be within you that is out of alignment with that excitement, so you can identify it and bring it back into alignment and expand your excitement in that way. And simply by following that formula of acting at every moment to the best of your ability on your highest excitement, with no insistence on how the outcome should look, you will activate that complete kit, and it will work for you automatically, effortlessly, every moment, without fail. As you allow yourself to move forward in that way, your life will become an ecstatic explosion of synchronicity, very magical. Things will begin to happen all around you because magic is, again, the true nature of existence. Miracles are the natural order of things, not the exception. Remember, no situation has built-in meaning. Everything is fundamentally neutral. Life is meaningless. You're the one that's designed to give life meaning. If you give situations a positive meaning, you will get a beneficial, positive effect. If you give them a negative definition, you can only get an effect that is representative of negativity, such as struggle, strife, difficulty, and obstacle. You only see it that way because you're defining it that way. Change your definition, you'll experience things in a very different way. That's how it works. What you put out is what you get back.